Keir Starmer stands at a crossroads, endeavoring to navigate the delicate balance of relationships with both the US and the EU. Yet, his apparent indecisiveness looms like a dark cloud, threatening to cast a shadow over the UK's future. In these turbulent diplomatic waters, he faces the daunting task of steering a course that safeguards the nation's interests while grappling with the complexities of global politics. As we delve deeper into this intricate web, we find that Donald Trump holds a firm belief that the EU has been exploiting the US by refusing to reciprocate with American goods in exchange for their exports. This sentiment resonates with a broader backdrop of frustrations regarding trade imbalances, a narrative that has become increasingly familiar in international discourse. Amidst this contentious atmosphere, Trump has made it clear that post-Brexit, he envisions stronger business ties with the UK, implying that Britain may stand as a more favorable partner compared to the EU. Such a shift could dramatically alter the future dynamics of trade, as the UK navigates its newfound independence on the global stage. However, for Keir Starmer, the path is strewn with obstacles, particularly in his negotiations with Trump. A misstep in these crucial discussions could have dire financial repercussions for the UK, putting economic stability at serious risk while the stakes continue to rise. Trump's history of opposing trade deficits further complicates matters. He perceives a $350 billion deficit with Europe as an affront, feeling that the US is being exploited in a system skewed against it. In this high-stakes game, Starmer must tread carefully, aware that the balance of power could shift with a single ill-considered move. Despite Trump's professed affection for Britain, it's clear he won't offer concessions lightly. He expects negotiations to unveil a robust strategy, and Starmer's hesitancy may well be perceived as weakness, a notion that could jeopardize the UK's leverage when navigating these negotiations. In the midst of these negotiations looms the threat of heavy tariffs, a strategy that Trump has proposed, particularly targeting vital sectors like cars and agriculture. Such measures could spiral into economic warfare, further complicating an already fraught trade landscape and potentially igniting tensions on both sides of the Atlantic. Complicating the situation further is Starmer's critical stance towards Trump concerning trade and security issues. His strategy, currently rooted in avoiding confrontation, may not resonate effectively in a landscape where assertiveness and clarity are paramount. Without a decisive approach, his negotiations become a treacherous balancing act. The repercussions of failing to engage effectively with the US are profound. Should these dialogues falter, the UK risks losing not only special trade deals but also vital security cooperation, an outcome that would have significant ramifications for Britain's standing in the global arena. Reflecting on Starmer's recent trip to Brussels, one can sense the disappointment that lingered in the air. His attempts to fortify ties with the EU seem to lack a clear direction or bold initiative, leaving many observers questioning the strength of his strategy. The ambiguity of his statements only compounded concerns about the future of UK-EU relations. Criticism has not been far behind, with many questioning Starmer's roadmap for engendering a closer relationship with the EU or securing a new trade deal. The absence of a firm commitment raises alarms about the UK's diplomatic posture and its potential trajectory on the international stage. As the UK's position becomes increasingly precarious amid escalating tensions between the US and EU, the potential harms of Starmer's indecision are magnified. Clarity in direction is not merely a preference, it is an urgent necessity to ensure the country can effectively navigate the murky waters of global politics. Starmer's hesitance to adopt a resolute stance could very well result in the UK missing out on lucrative trade deals, especially with the US under Trump's administration. In an environment where every decision holds weight, the cost of indecision could be greater than previously imagined. Indeed, the stark contrast between Trump's decisive and aggressive negotiation style and Starmer's cautious approach serves to highlight the inherent risks of faltering in international relations. The world watches closely, and any sign of hesitance can be interpreted as a lack of resolve, a dangerous perception in such turbulent times. The current geopolitical climate demands not just clarity but strength in leadership. Every moment of hesitation might be seen as weakness on the global stage, a sentiment that is not easily forgotten in the corridors of power. Strong leadership is essential as nations grapple with their places in an ever-evolving global landscape. As we examine the broader picture, the growing disparity in economic growth between Europe and other regions becomes glaringly evident. While some thrive, the citizens of the UK have shouldered financial hardships since the 2008 crash, and the urgency for reform becomes increasingly clear in discussions surrounding the nation's future. Further complicating the narrative is the discourse surrounding net zero policies, which cast a shadow of potential economic risks associated with aligning closely to EU regulations. Such moves could hinder growth and inflate costs for the UK economy, a precarious balancing act amidst the quest for sustainability. Ultimately, the emphasis on strong international alliances is undeniable. The UK finds itself at a pivotal juncture, compelled to make a choice between bolstering ties with the EU or pivoting towards the US, each route holding the key to securing its economic future. In these times of uncertainty, the decisions made today will shape the landscape of tomorrow.